my friends, and without unnecessary words, let's start with the Kherson direction. So far, there are no changes along the front line here. The occupiers are shelling across the entire front line and mobilizing new reserves to maintain their defense and try to push the Ukrainian Armed Forces out of the left bank. But according to the official statement of the Ukrainian side, our forces have already entrenched themselves. Therefore, dislodging them now will not be easy. Moreover, the Russians openly claim that they have few reserves on this front. Defense against drones is weak in this direction, and the Ukrainian armed forces actively destroy them.
The most serious problem is, along the entire front, FPV drones and bomber drones of the armed forces of Ukraine, which destroy military and civilian equipment on frontline roads and near the LBS.
That's why the Russians are considering the option of retreating 50 kilometers from the Dnipro River. A similar retreat under the pressure of our forces occurred from the right bank from the Kharkiv region. When the Russians have insufficient troops on a certain front, they have to make a goodwill gesture. Hopefully, the same will happen here soon. Overall, there is more good news from this direction. The Russians also reported that Chinese companies have supplied motor vehicles for this direction.
Desert Cross 1000 to 3 side-by-side vehicles from the Chinese company AODS, which were recently demonstrated to the president in Rostov, were spotted near Krinky. For evacuation and delivery of ammunition, the very thing, the guys say. In total, 537 side-by-side vehicles have already been delivered to the Russian troops, and it is planned to supply another 1590 pieces.
As it seems, China is actively assisting the Russian army. However, this hasn't deterred the Ukrainian armed forces, and it's reported that 2 of these vehicles, along with their crews, have already been destroyed. Moreover, yesterday it was reported that the occupiers are starting to flee from their positions.
It was reported that 2 of them were already lost along with the fighters. Crappy thing.
As it becomes evident, this situation is becoming more intriguing with each passing day. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers are attempting to advance towards Robotine, Novoprokopivka, and in the vicinity of Verbove. Shelling continues along the entire front line. The increasing number of attacks indicates that they have no shortage of reserves, and they continue to exert pressure with quantity, but without achieving success. Over the day, the front line remains unchanged. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers persist in their attacks in the Staromayorsky area. Battles have been ongoing here for almost a week, and despite not achieving success, the Russians show no signs of stopping. Meanwhile, intensified shelling continues along the entire front line. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers are once again advancing in the areas of Keramik and near Novobakhmutivka. Battles are also unfolding in the Stepove area, with continuous attempts to break through to the outskirts of Avdiivka. Today, the occupiers are seeking to expand their control over the northern flank, intensively shelling all the villages in the path of surrounding Avdiivka. The General Staff reported that the Ukrainian armed forces repelled 23 attacks in each direction over the day. To the south, the occupiers persist in attacks both on the outskirts of Marinka and Novomykhailivka. It's reported that there were 21 assault operations during the day, and all of them were unsuccessful. The front line remains unchanged. In the Bakhmut direction, in the area of Bogdanivka and Ivanivsk, the attacks have ceased, and only shelling continues. Meanwhile, the occupiers persist in storming the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Klishivka and Andriivka areas. According to reports from the General Staff, the Ukrainian Armed Forces repelled 7 attacks. However, shelling continues, and the situation remains quite challenging. In the areas of Kremenna and Siversk, the occupiers attempted an offensive operation on the village of Torske, which is crucial in this direction. If they manage to capture this village, a significant grouping of the Ukrainian Armed Forces will be in an inconvenient position, with a water obstacle on one side and the front line on the other. This is precisely what they are attempting, but so far they haven't achieved any success and the front line remains unchanged. In the Svatove direction, the situation remains unchanged. No new attacks are reported and the number of shellings is minimal. However, in the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers have resumed attacks on Sinkivka and in the area of Petropavlivka. They managed to break through beyond the village approximately 5.5 kilometers from the front line. I want to emphasize that this information comes from the General Staff, so there shouldn't be no mistakes here. As evident, after regrouping, they continued to assault positions with even greater force. Shelling continues along the entire front line, but they haven't been able to consolidate their positions, and so far there are no changes. And while Putin continues to claim that things in Russia are going very well, residents are of course complaining about the extraordinary rise in prices.
Раньше мог на 1000 рублей закупиться дня на 3-4 спокойно. Сейчас 1000 рублей – это вообще ничто. Ты покупаешь продукты только вот ежедневные.
Жена и мать 2 детей Дарья вместе с семьей живет в небольшом городе Среднеуральск на восточном склоне Уральских гор. Девушка не работает, так как совсем недавно у пары родился ребенок. Старшему сыну Дарьи сейчас 5 лет.
За 5 лет вижу, как все подорожало. Подгузники в 2-3 раза дороже. Все полностью, детское питание в 2 раза дороже. Я уж не говорю про детскую смесь, она не в 2, она в 4 раза дороже стала.
Девушка рассказывает, что, покупая коляску для новорожденного, рассчитывала, как 5 лет назад, потратить до $300. Однако в магазине она увидела цену в 2 раза выше. Стоимость возросла не только на детские товары, но и на обычное продовольствие. Ноябрь в России стал очередной отметкой повышения инфляции – более 7%. Этой весной Центробанк рассчитывал, что цифра не поднимется выше 6,5%. Сильнее всего от повышения цен пострадали овощные и фруктовые отделы. Согласно Росстату, бананы за 11 месяцев стали дороже более чем на 40%. Помидоры почти на 30%, капуста чуть больше 20%, яблоки на 14,5%. Рост цен на курятину достиг почти 30%, а на куриные яйца более чем на 20%.
Стараемся какие-то акции уловить. Ну, как я узнаю, среди своих знакомых, но какой вариант еще? Я не скажу, что мы умрем. Конечно, могу, но не умрем, мы плакать не будем, но стараемся. Я думаю, что будем стараться выжить.
По ощущениям, вот чисто без анализа, да, подросли цены. Если еще подрастут, наверное, буду переходить на хлеб с водой.
Очень сильно изменились цены, очень выросли, 1,5, а то и 2 раза. Это только продукты, остальные вообще зашквар. 3 раза точно.
При серьезном повышении цен заработные платы, особенно за пределами Москвы, остаются примерно на одном уровне.
Also, I'd like to show you a clip from a documentary film to help you better understand what was happening in Ukraine at the beginning of the war. In this film, the focus is on Ukraine's Minister of Internal Affairs, Denis Monastyrsky, and his decision to distribute weapons to the population to save the capital from sabotage and reconnaissance groups in the first days of the full-scale invasion.
Денис Анатолійович підійшов навіть не як міністр, а як більше цивільна людина і креативна людина, яка подумала, що ж нам треба зробити, щоб захищати. Щоб захищатися, потрібна зброя.
Я реально приехал, проверил. Вот напротив цирка выдают оружие. Давайте, у кого есть желание, быстро приезжайте и берите. Все, слава Україні!
Рішення про видачу зброї цивільному населенню, тим, хто готовий боронити свою країну, це було його рішення.
Працюємо, організовуємо повністю оборону, захист від ДРГ, видачу зброї. Тільки лише в Києві видано понад 25 тисяч одиниць зброї автоматичної і близько 10 мільйонів патронів, РПГ, гранати.
Це було організовано не тільки в Києві, це було організовано по всій країні.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.